History often celebrates conquerors, revolutionaries, and builders of nations. But true history also remembers the cost of power. And few figures represent that cost more brutally than Joseph Stalin. Stalin did not rule with inspiration. He ruled with fear. He presented himself as the protector of the Soviet dream, a future of equality, strength, and unity. But behind that promise was a system where human life meant nothing. Stalin believed power must never be questioned, and anyone who questioned it, or even might question it, became an enemy. This belief created a nation where suspicion replaced loyalty. A wrong word, a careless joke, a private thought, any of these could end a life. During the Great Purge, Stalin turned the state against its own people. Military leaders were executed. Intellectuals vanished. Doctors were accused of conspiracies. Writers were silenced. Artists disappeared. Even those who helped Stalin rise to power were destroyed by him. Trust was impossible because survival depended on silence. Millions were arrested without evidence. They were tortured until they confessed to crimes that never existed. Confessions were not proof. They were tools. The Gulag system became a machine of slow death. Prisoners were sent to frozen wastelands and forced to work until their bodies collapsed. Hunger, cold, disease, and exhaustion were constant. Escape was impossible. Hope was dangerous. Entire families were punished for the actions of one person. Children grew up knowing their parents as traitors, even when they had done nothing wrong. Then came the famines. Under Stalin's forced collectivization, farmers were stripped of land, grain, and dignity. Food was taken to meet quotas. Resistance meant death. In Ukraine and other regions, millions starved while grain was exported. People collapsed in the streets. Parents watched children die slowly. This was not an accident. It was a decision. Food existed. Mercy did not. Stalin controlled not only the state, he controlled memory. History was rewritten. Photographs were edited to erase the dead. Names vanished from books. Truth became whatever the state declared. Fear reshaped human behavior. Neighbors reported neighbors. Friends betrayed friends. Children were taught loyalty to the state above family. Love became a risk. Honesty became a crime. Even during World War II, when the Soviet Union fought Nazi Germany, Stalin's cruelty did not soften. Soldiers were treated as expendable. Retreat was punishable by death. Victory came, but at an unimaginable human cost. Yes, Stalin helped defeat Hitler, but history does not measure leaders only by outcomes. It measures them by methods. And Stalin's methods were unforgivable. He never admitted wrongdoing, never apologized, never showed regret. Millions died, and he called it progress. Statues were raised, but beneath them were graves without names. History cannot forgive Joseph Stalin because forgiveness requires humanity, and humanity was what his system destroyed. His legacy is not strength, it is a warning of what happens when power has no limits, when ideology replaces empathy, when fear becomes law, when one man decides who deserves to live. Remembering Stalin is not about hatred, it is about responsibility. Because when the past is ignored, the future repeats it. History will never forgive Joseph Stalin, not because it is cruel, but because it must remember.